What if the biggest career myth is that you need to be the best at one thing? What if the real secret is being pretty good at a bunch of things? Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a powerful strategy called skill stacking. So let's kick things off by questioning some advice we've all heard a million times. Specialize. Go deep, become the expert. But seriously, in a world that changes this fast, is betting your entire career on one single specialty really the safest move anymore?
And this is the core idea we're going to unpack. Instead of that insane, stressful climb to be in the top 1% of a super competitive skill, the goal is to get into, say, the top 20% in a few different complementary skills. That combination, well, that's what makes you unique. It's what makes you incredibly valuable.
So what's the real advantage here? Well, you basically become a problem-solving Swiss Army knife. While the specialist has their one perfect tool, you've got a whole toolbox. You can combine things in new ways, which makes you the person everyone turns to for those messy, complicated challenges. Now, what's so cool about this slide is how it reframes something we all struggle with, right? Shiny object syndrome. Bad shiny object syndrome? That's just randomly jumping from one thing to the next with no real plan. But good shiny object syndrome? That's strategic. The trick is to just ask yourself one simple question. Does this new shiny thing connect to what I already know, or is it just a random distraction? That one question, it turns a weakness into a superpower.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. This strategy isn't about learning a bunch of random skills. It starts with a solid foundation. You've got to master 3 core evergreen skills that are pretty much always in demand, no matter what happens in the world.
First things first, we have to understand the game we're playing. Business, at its heart, is just a value exchange. And as you can see here, value isn't always cash. You might trade your expertise for a good connection, or your time to learn something new. All of it creates opportunity.
Think of these 3 skills like a tripod. You need a compelling message, something that resonates. You need a way to get that message out there. And you need a practical skill that actually gets a result for people, like writing copy that sells, or editing a video that people can't stop watching. If you're missing any one of those legs, the whole thing just falls over. So crafting your message. This is all about getting good at, communicating with other humans. It means learning the basics of marketing to get attention, sales to show people how you can solve their problems, and storytelling to really connect with them. People don't buy stuff, they buy better versions of themselves, and stories are how you sell that transformation. But here's the thing, a brilliant message that nobody ever hears, it's totally useless. In today's world, distribution, your ability to reach people through social media, a newsletter, whatever, that's your amplifier. That's what gives you leverage. And ultimately, that's what gives you freedom.
All right, so once you have that solid foundation, it's time to add the secret sauce. The one thing that literally nobody else has. You! This is where all your unique, personal interests finally get to shine.
So many people worry, my interests are too niche, they're too weird. This quote just flips that whole idea on its head. See, it's not your audience's job to be interested in what you do. It's your job to figure out how to make it interesting. Your passion for, 18th century pottery isn't weird. You just haven't learned how to tell the story of why it's so fascinating. And this right here is exactly why your interests are your secret weapon. They're what make you stand out. They attract your kind of people. And you get an inside track on your audience because, you are your audience. When you combine, say, marketing skills with a deep love for beekeeping, you become completely irreplaceable. But let's get real for a second. This is not some theory you just read about. All the knowledge in the world is completely useless until you actually roll up your sleeves and apply it. So here's how you do that. The key is to create this awesome feedback loop called rapid building. It's a cycle, right? You don't just passively consume information, you immediately use it to go build something. This constant back and forth between learning and doing, that's what really puts your growth into hyperdrive. Here's how it works in practice. And listen, you don't start with a course. Nope. You start with a project. You build until you get stuck. And only then do you go find the very specific piece of information you need to get unstuck. It's just-in-time learning, and it's so much more efficient. And that last step, teaching what you learn, absolutely crucial. Trying to explain something to someone else is the fastest way to realize what you don't actually understand yet. So, what's the best project to start with? Simple. Build your own thing. A one-person business, a personal brand, whatever you want to call it. It forces you to practice everything all at once. Your marketing, your sales, your content, your core skill. It's like the ultimate gym for your entire skills stack. Okay, finally, and this is maybe the most important piece of the puzzle,
None of this works without the right mindset. You have to understand how progress actually works, because I promise you, it almost never feels like a straight line up.
This right here, this might be the single most important pattern you can possibly get into your head. For what feels like forever, you'll be working your butt off, and it's going to feel like nothing is happening. You're putting in the hours, but you're just not seeing the results. And then, almost out of nowhere, bam, you get this huge leap forward.
For most people who really stay consistent with it, that first, whoa, this is actually working moment, it tends to pop up right around the 6-month mark. That's your proof of concept. That's the little bit of fuel you need to keep going, because it shows you the process is real.
You have to zoom out. You've got to adopt a much longer-term view. 6 months? That's just 1% of a 50-year career. We have to stop thinking in weeks and start thinking in years, even decades. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
And as you keep stacking more and more skills, something really incredible starts to happen. It's like you're lighting candles in a pitch-black room. Each new skill illuminates a whole new area. It expands what you're even aware of, letting you see connections and solve problems that a specialist, with their one little candle, can't even see.
So look, here's the real takeaway. Your unique, kind of weird combination of skills, your interests, your experiences, that is your single greatest competitive advantage. Nobody else can replicate you. So the only question left is, what skills are you going to start stacking?